Hello, good morning, and welcome to this day in history. I am your host, John Churchill. It was on this day in history, August 23rd, 1617, first one-way street opened in London. It was on this day in history, 1796, African Methodist Episcopal Church is incorporated. It was on this day in history, 1799, French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte leaves Egypt for France en route to seizing power. It was on this day in history, August 23rd, 1839, British captured Hong Kong from China. It was on this day in history, 1872, first Chinese commercial ship visits San Francisco carrying tea. It was on this day in history, August 23rd, 1879, British Governor General Charles Gordon of Sudan returned to Cairo. It was on this day in history, 1914, Japan declared war on Germany in World War I. It was on this day in history, 1929, Arab mob attacks Jew in Jerusalem, mandatory Palestine, triggering a series of violent riots. It was on this day in history, 1948, World Council of Churches is formed by 147 churches from 44 countries. It was on this day in history, August 23rd, 1983, South Africa attorney and UDF leader Dula Umar is arrested. It was on this day in history, August 23rd, 1987, 15-years-old boy hijacked KLM B737 and demand $1 billion. It was on this day in history, August 23rd, 1987, heavy rainfall and flood in Bangladesh kill hundreds of people. It was on this day in history, 1990, Armenia declared independence from the Soviet nation. It was on this day in history, still in 1990, East and West Germany announced they will reunite on October 3rd. It was on this day in history, August 23rd, 1996, Islamic militant and terrorist Osama bin Laden issued a message entitled A Declaration of War against the Americans occupying the land of the two holy places. It was on this day in history, 2007, hashtag is invented and first used in a tweet by a US product designer, Chris Messana. It was on this day in history, 2023. Greek wildfire claimed 20 lives, including 18 migrants trying to cross the border from Turkey. It was on this day in history, 2024, August 23rd, U.S. independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. suspended his campaign and endorsed Donald Trump. And that brings us to the end of today on this day in history, August 23rd, 2025. I remain your host, John Churchill. Bye.